What is that I see in the street? There is a chicken. Hello and welcome back to yet another adventure. Today we are in the city of Miami. Now, I've spent a decent amount of time in Miami recently, gotten to know it pretty well, and today I figured, you know what? Let's do something different. Now, whenever I'm in a new city, I usually love to explore on bike, just because you can go around, you can see a bunch of different things, and I just bought this action camera and I'm very excited to use it. Today what we're gonna do is the first ever official Alex Worldwide bike tour of Miami. So we're gonna start here in Brickell. We're gonna work our way through downtown all the way up into the design district. And then from there, we're gonna work our way back down. We're gonna end in Little Havana, stopping at a bunch of cool spots. So get ready, y'all, as we commence the first ever Alex Worldwide bike tour of Miami. And this is going to be our bike. Let the official Alex Worldwide tour of Miami commence. So something I noticed right away here in Brickell is that there are no lanes to bike. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this kind of like a faint white line maybe up there. Actually on this side, I think it got all like erased or something. So you're kind of forced to just ride around on the sidewalk, which isn't really a problem just because the sidewalks are really wide. I mean, the only thing is that you kind of have to just watch out for pedestrians. But other than that, I mean, you're perfectly fine. What is this we have right here? Check this out, I wanna show you guys this real quick. So one cool thing here in Miami is they have these little delivery bots, and what they do, so I think you kind of put the food right in there. There's sensors all around apparently, and there's a person actually controlling it as it's going around. So you just all day, you just see these little guys, they're just whizzing around, boop, boop, boop. Let me know in the comments, in your city, do you have little delivery bots like this, dude? Let me know. All right, let's continue the tour. Now back to our adventure, and as I was telling you guys, you kind of gotta watch out. Oh, you gotta watch out for people like that as you're riding around. But luckily sidewalks are big enough, so we are good. That area, much more commercial, not a lot going on. But this area over here is where the action's at least here in Brickell. So this area right here is a lot of cool restaurants. This is the main strip of Brickell. As you can see, there are a lot of massive buildings right here. So this is also one of the more hip happening areas. You have a lot of colorful buildings, a lot of luxury hotels. And what I've heard from the locals is that they are building this place up like crazy. I mean, just skyscrapers popping up everywhere you can see. I will mention, it's definitely not cheap. So be prepared to spend money if you're eating here. But it's a cool area if you're ever here in Miami. And it's really kind of just become a huge tourist destination. All right, my friends, so we'll stop here real quick. So this building right here is a hotel, but there are actually two bars on the very top floor. One's an outdoor bar and the other one is an indoor bar. Both have absolutely beautiful views of Brickell, of the ocean. Now I will say that by no means are these bars cheap in this area. I mean, just get ready to spend money. But beautiful views, and oh, and another thing, they also get very packed. My best advice to you is to come early. All right. Let's keep going. Ooh, check this out right here. So this crosswalk is really cool. I know they have a similar one. I think it's called Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo. But you can go from this way, you can cut diagonally, you can go to that direction. It's something cool, unique to the Brickell area. Let me know, have you guys ever seen something like that in the US before? And let's keep it going. So just so we can keep track of the areas, we are going north right now. So we are heading out of Brickell and we are headed towards downtown. All right, my friends, looks like we are in luck today. We have a clear path ahead of us as we head into downtown and we continue our tour. Let's pick up the speed a little bit. As you can see, there are more hotels this way, office buildings, really not much more. Again, Brickell is very commercial, has a lot of hotels, very touristy. All right, now we're crossing the bridge into downtown. Something interesting about this bridge is that it actually goes up, and I'll show you why it goes up. So there's a giant canal right here. Basically, anytime a ship that's a certain size passes through there, the bridge goes up, and sometimes it can be a relatively long wait. I think like the longest I ever waited was probably like 15 minutes or something. It was a long time, but I mean, who can really complain with a view like that, right? All right, my friends, we are now entering downtown. And hey, look, we got a bike lane. That's another thing to mention, I guess. is that here at least there is a dedicated bike lane, which is pretty nice. As soon as I said that, the bike lane disappeared. So the name of this street right here is Biscayne Boulevard. And what it really is it is one of the main arteries here in Miami. It'll take you way, way, way up north, and it'll take you all the way south. So always good to know if you're in the area. And that brings us to our next stop. Okay, so really interesting story about the building right here behind me. Originally, there was a company there that provided hospice services, and for those of you who don't know, hospice services are really just care for older people who are at the end of their lives. And eventually they moved to a different location, and when they did, the building owner filed a permit for the building to be demolished. But the interesting part about this story is that not too long ago, it became publicly known that the building was set to be demolished. So what happened? Shortly after, a group of graffiti artists saw the public filing, saw that, hey, this building's gonna get demolished. And guess what? They said, you know what we're gonna do? We are going to tag that building up. And that is exactly what they did. There's this really famous art festival here in Miami that happens every winter. And what they did was they said, that's gonna be the day, art festival. Ironic as it sounds, we are going to use that opportunity to make our presence known, and they did exactly that. With literally, I kid you not, in a matter of days, this building was covered from top to bottom in graffiti. That's incredible when you really think about it. And it's interesting because no one really knew what to do. I mean, obviously, they're not trying too hard, as we can see, to like keep people out. It's kind of just become a landmark here. But you know, at this point, they're kind of like, you know what, it's gonna get demolished anyway. Like, it is what it is. And that's the story of this building. We don't know when it's going to get demolished, so it's cool that we at least got a chance to see it before it does. Apparently they're gonna build, I think, another skyscraper here. Shocking, right? All right, my friends, and with that said, let's continue on with our tour. So now we're gonna head up Biscayne Boulevard. Ooh, check this out right here. So one cool thing I wanted to point out is the metro here. So we got lucky this two at the same time. But one cool thing about this metro is that it is 100% free. So really it takes you anywhere from Brickell to downtown, close to Wynwood, more or less, which is, we'll pass by it at some point. It's a little more north. When I first got here, I was like, are you serious? There's a free public transportation? That was a first for me. Do you guys have any free public transit in your guys' cities? All right, let's keep checking out downtown. All right, my friends, we are off again. This massive building right here is a giant condo building, 50 Biscayne. So right over there, that is one of the many luxury apartment buildings in this area. It's a corporate space. You have a lot of that here in the downtown area. They recently revitalized it, so a lot of luxury apartment buildings, a lot of commercial office space. Apparently this area wasn't always closed down. Recently, they decided to shut it down, and when I say recently, within the past few years. And it makes for a nice tourist area. But yeah, this is the downtown area. Really just a lot of kind of like small shops. You have everything from cannabis shops to art exhibits, lots of restaurants. And with that said, we have made it to our next stop. It is this very unsuspecting place. I don't know about y'all, but I tend to get very hungry when I'm, out biking around. So I figured, let's grab something to eat. And there's also something really cool in this spot that I wanted to show you guys. So with that said, let's check it out. Wow, look at this place. One of the cool things I really like about this place is just how kind of like modern it is. There's apparently 3 levels. There's a lot of like really good food here. It's in a lot of different types of food. The choices are not quite endless, but from what they have, I mean, there's no shortage of options. You have, your lunch, dinner types foods. You have plenty of desserts. But the thing I want to show you guys here is something that I personally have never seen before. It is a key lime pie. Oh my God, we are at a key lime pie. All right, let's check on the 3rd floor. Maybe we'll find the key lime pie over there. That honestly shocked me. Usually it's full. Let's see if we can find one up here. Well, sorry about that, y'all. It looks like the key lime pie vending machine is out of order. Maybe they're restocking it. I was asking. No one really seemed to know. Guess no pie for us today, but you know what? That's okay. That honestly came as a shock to me. I've been there various times, and every time I go, it is literally stocked to the brim with key lime pie. I was so pumped to show you guys and every time I see it, but I'd never actually tried it. And I wanted this to be the first time trying it, but as luck would have it, There is no pie there, but if anything, you saw the place. It's cool. We will continue with the tour and we will push on. All right, and we are off. This area of downtown is a lot of construction going on, as you can see. There's not really much happening here. Looks like a lot of things are shut down or out of use. I brought us back out to the main way over here because, in all honesty, in that area downtown, there's really not much, and it's not the prettiest view. We are now exiting downtown, and where we are headed next is to Wynwood, which is a little bit of a distance away. So I was thinking we could either spend the time pedaling on, or what I could do is tell you guys a quick story. A few months ago, I learned something very important here in Miami. I learned about the Miami boat scam. A friend had invited me to his birthday party and he said he was gonna rent boats. For those of you who aren't from Miami, it's really popular here to rent boats. Long story short, the scam goes a little something like this. So let me paint the picture for you. There's about 24 of us. It was a big group, and they'd originally told us, meet at this dock at this time, done, right? Well, as you can imagine, that was not the case. We spent about 30 minutes looking for the boat. They then changed the location. That also fed into our time. So from there, we eventually found our boat. And the next thing was they told us you could only have 12 people on one boat and 12 people on the other. Does not matter. It is 12 and 12 or you guys do not ride, which obviously, you know, wasn't the end of the world. So we did it. Now we're getting to the good part of the story, right? So what happened next? So there's a specific route that pretty much all these boats take. They take you through the canals. It's beautiful. You see the sights, but they went so incredibly slowly. And when I say slow, I mean, I think we took about an hour and a half just to get out. I can't really speak to how long the distance was, but what I will say is that it wasn't that far for the time it took to get out there. And on top of that, guess what? We lost our group. Well, when I say we lost, wink, wink, our group. In searching for the group. That contributed to eating up time. And one thing I should have mentioned earlier was that we'd only paid for 4 hours. So you figure that was about an hour and a half, 2 hours of our time already. We finally found our friends. Everything was good. We partied. And as things would have it, within about an hour, maybe hour and a half tops, they said, hey, my friends, your time is up. You have two options. You guys either pay at full price for more time per hour, or we go back. So naturally, we paid for the extra 2 hours, and you would not believe at the end of those 2 hours how fast they went back to the docks. It was literally 30 minutes or less. They were speeding. Oh man, they could not wait to get back. All in all, I mean, I still had a great time, obviously. It was still fun. But, and again, this is not every boat operator here in Miami by any means. This was just my experience. But just in case you guys decide to come here to Miami, don't get fooled, now you know. And that, my friends, is the Miami boat scam. Wow, shockingly, that story took all of our time, but I want to take a second to show you guys this kind of skyline right here. So this is Edgewater. This is one of the more premier areas here in Miami. Just another place to see. There's actually a really beautiful view of the ocean from there. So cool spot, but we're not gonna stop there. We are going to Wynwood. All right, my friends, we have now reached Wynwood, and what do we have here? This looks like Santa doing something, climbing a chain. I don't even know. Now check this out right here. This kind of shocked me the first time I went past. So it's one of those things where I stopped and I said, seriously, you can just come over here and shoot machine guns? But after our experience at the gun show, that's just kind of apparently the culture here in Florida. One thing very interesting, something that I honestly hadn't seen before coming to this state, and we are moving on. And as you can see, things are starting to get a lot more colorful. So Wynwood is known for being the art district of Miami. It's just a place where art is clearly encouraged. You have a lot of, different types of art, anything from tagging to actual like murals, as we're seeing all over the walls. And it's a cool district. Originally, this place was just a bunch of warehouses, and recently they converted it into this entire art district. And I guess apart from just being like the kind of artsy district here in Miami, it's also a lot of luxury buildings, much like Brickell, much like downtown. It's become one of the more frequently visited areas. There's a lot of cool bars here. And I mean, overall, it's a really cool vibe. All right, now we're seeing the construction going on. I guess it's beyond up and coming. I mean, it's not cheap to live here by any means, but you still have a little bit of the remnants of the warehouse district. It's a little less developed on this side. You can see how it's like a lot quieter. I mean, you have still like businesses building up and whatnot. As you guys can see on this side, it's a lot more industrial, but this is also still very kind of commercial, very built up. There's a lot of restaurants here. I mean, again, you have a little bit of everything here, but a lot of people come here for the nightlife. Speaking of nightlife, looks like we got people setting up right here. Okay, y'all, we have finally made it to the heart of Wynwood. And over in that area, right over there, you can kind of see it. We're not gonna go in today, but this is kind of like one of the main tourist attractions. And basically, I mean, there's art all over this place, but inside there, it's really accessible, actually really cheap to enter. You walk in, a lot of cool art. It's a place where you could get through relatively quickly, maybe 30 minutes or so. It's relatively small, and then you're out and about and you can enjoy all that is this area. On that side, it looks like there's kind of like a bunch of food stands. Don't tell anyone that I did this. A little sneak peek. The majority of it is just kind of like art on the walls. You have some other things in there, but you're in and out, and you can check out the rest of the area in the nearby design district, which is where we are headed next. All right, y'all, we have made it to the famed designer district. As the name implies, there is really not a lot here besides really expensive restaurants and designer stores. It's a huge, obviously a huge attraction here in Miami, and it's not too far. It's about 10 minutes from Wynwood, and figured, you know what? Why not just check it out real quick? Continuing on over this way, as you can see, nothing but designer stores from side to side, kind of modern decor. And there's something here I actually wanted to show you guys. This thing's pretty cool. And by the way, this is kind of like the center of the design district. This is the heart. This is, as you can see, everyone's really dressed up here, and this is where I would say a lot of these stores are, but why we came here was for this. So this right here is called the Fly's Eye Dome. So really it's just a popular sculpture here in the design district. Going in and checking it out real quick. So one thing that's cool, and man, it sounds so hollow in here, and honestly, it gets a little hot. Instantly, I mean, the sun's like beating down, and it's not ventilated at all in this thing. I'm starting to sweat a lot, but if you just go down and follow these stairs right there, I don't know if you guys can see, but it just kind of turned into a parking garage. Nothing like incredible or anything, but something unique. I mean, I've never seen an art sculpture that, was built right on top of a garage. So something cool here in the designer district. I'll give you guys one kind of final look of it as we prepare to go back down to our final stop, Little Havana. All right, my friends, we have arrived back in downtown, and I have no idea what building that is, but that one's pretty cool. I decided not to film from the design district back to downtown just because I just followed the same route we took to get over there, so didn't want to get too repetitive with this video. We're still on Biscayne, but I'm coming down the other way because there's a few things on this side that I want to show y'all, and this brings us to our next stop. So this stadium right here is where the Miami Heat play, and for those of you not from the US or not familiar with basketball, this is Miami's basketball team, and this is just where they play their home games. And we're not gonna stop here. We're gonna keep pedaling. So this area coming up right over on here on my left is Bayside. So what this is just really touristy area. You have all sorts of, as you can see, there's like a bus over there just stacked with people. There's really just a lot of different types of stores, a lot of restaurants. Nice place to grab a drink. Right there, actually dead center, right in front of us. That's where they usually play live music. And overall, great time. Very family friendly. Continuing on, so this is Bayfront Park on this side. It has a beautiful view of the waterfront. We'll see that in just one sec, but first we just reached our next stop. And what exactly is that? That's this thing right here. So what had happened was NASA had sent a bunch of teachers into space, and unfortunately, several seconds after launch, the ship just blew up. This serves as a memorial for all of those teachers on board. This isn't actually pieces of the spaceship, the Challenger, but serves as a memorial to honor those who were part of that journey. So as we're coming up on the water right here, this massive boat in front of us, I've never seen this thing move, funnily enough, but I've seen a bunch of weddings in there, a bunch of parties. I don't know if they actually like sail it, but welcome to the waterfront. Now, this coming up is literally my favorite view in all of Miami. It's beautiful, it's peaceful, and in my opinion, it's actually a really unique view here in the US. I haven't really seen a lot of places here that are on the water and have views like this. Now, I don't know if y'all have been paying attention, but something interesting is that you almost can't turn one corner here in Miami, or really a lot of places in Florida for that matter, without seeing a bunch of palm trees. So fun fact, the majority of the palm trees here actually aren't native to Florida. They're imported from India, from Latin America. If you're familiar with like the US and the kind of depiction of Miami and Florida for that matter, all you see is like the famous palm trees and whatnot. But the majority of them are not native. The majority of them are imported from other countries. And here we are again, crossing the bridge. We got lucky it's not up, and oh my gosh, look at that construction going on. There is no shortage of that. All right, my friends, we have just arrived in the Little Havana, the famed area of Miami. Little Havana is a really cool place. There's a lot of culture here. Now, this place is famous because this was the area where the Cubans first landed when they immigrated here. One of the things that Little Havana is most famous for is their Cuban coffee. This isn't just like ordinary coffee. This coffee is ridiculously strong. When I say ridiculously strong, I mean this thing, like one sip, you feel it instantly, obviously depending on your sensitivity to caffeine. For those of you who are coffee lovers, it does not disappoint. All right, I want to take a quick stop right here because the street's actually pretty important. So you have a bunch of monuments dedicated to important figures in Cuban history. Take a quick tour. And so it stretches way down over here. You have a lot of important figures, again, in Cuban history, and I think that's really cool that their culture is honored here. This area is predominantly Latino culture, but predominantly Cuban culture, and it's present literally everywhere you look. It's beautiful, and it adds to, the beauty of this city. So one thing about Little Havana in particular is this is the salsa capital of Miami. You will find so many salsa clubs. You can hear it all around you. If you like salsa, this is probably your best bet if you're looking for places to go out. And also, look at this. So on a lot of corners here, you'll see all these roosters. This one says Calle because we're on Calle. And I mean, even over there, you can kind of see it. So what's up with the roosters, right? So in Cuban culture, the rooster actually represents strength. So oftentimes you'll see a bunch of these roosters on the corners, and they've really become emblematic of Little Havana. And in my opinion, really cool that they bring their culture to the US like that and share it with us. Aside from all the culture and everything, they have just about everything over here. I mean, you have a lot of cool bars, you have a lot of amazing restaurants. I'd highly suggest if you're here to come and visit. But one of the stops that I wanted to stop at is the famed Domino Park. So here, if you're lucky enough, it looks like we missed them. But if you're lucky enough, you can actually, oh no, there are a few people. We'll just take a quick little tour, but usually this is filled with older gentlemen and they're all playing dominoes. It's really a cool sight to see, something that is very common, I'm told, in Cuba, and one of the many things that brings charm to this neighborhood. And now coming out this way, this part of Calle is really nice, and ooh, what is that I see in the street? There is a chicken. Oh, looks like we found another one. And as I'm speaking and kind of walking around, you see a chicken with a bunch of baby chickens. And so what's up with the chickens? There's actually a story behind that. And it goes a little something like this. So when Cubans first immigrated to the US, a lot of them brought chickens. Now these chickens weren't to eat. As it turns out, unfortunately, they were for fighting, for cockfighting. And that happened for a bunch of years, but eventually the US said, you know what, nope, this is illegal, no more. They banned it. So what did they do with all those chickens that had been here for all that time? Well, they let them free, and on top of that, they said, hey, you know what? You can't hunt these chickens, you can't catch them, you can't kill them, you can't eat them, just let them be. They're free chickens. So what happened after years and years of chickens roaming free here in southern Florida? Well, as you guessed, they bred. Many more chickens were born, and now you have a bunch of chickens running around southern Florida. All right, and with that, I am going to end this tour in the emblematic Calle Ocho. Thank you again for having come with me all this way. This was a really long tour. If you guys like this style of filming, please let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to make more videos like this. As always, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until the next time, peace out.